Hey everybody, so it's Sunday night and I decided that I am going to do a demonstration on a flower basket bike that I'm going to be teaching in a class, not this coming week, but the next week. And so I thought, I'm going to do a demo, that way everybody can kind of see what I do and how I do it. So, yeah, so here's my cutout, and I basically, it's kind of hard to see, I don't know if you can see it, but basically just did the pencil lines for where I need to paint in the inside, outlining the baskets and the wheels and the pedal and all that good stuff. So everything is outlined, and I'm kind of hoping you can see it. I might need to move my phone over a little bit just so you can see it better. But anyway, so I am going to start with the yellow paint because I'm going to want to come back and I'm going to want to add the middles to my flowers. And so I'm going to do that first. And to do that, I'm going to be mixing a little bit of red in just so I get some parts that are a little darker with the orange versus just the yellow. So I'm going to kind of come over here and I'm going to wrap my color. When you put it around the edges, it's called wrapping your color. And I just want to add just a little bit of red in there just to give it that extra, just a different color to it. I don't want it to be just a solid yellow because that would be kind of boring, and well, anybody that knows me knows that I'm not boring at all. So let's see, back here we're going to make these a little bit darker, so I'm going to put some red down first, and I'm going to go back in with some yellow over the top of that. You have to kind of keep in mind what flowers are being put behind or overlapped, and those are going to be darker because you're going to have cast shadows on them. If you would want to just make them solid yellow, you could do that too. It kind of just depends on what your liking is. And you can kind of mix it up. Have some yellow, just plain yellow. Have some that are mixed. That's the kind of the beauty of everything. And I can wrap my color right there. I may have to turn my laptop on here to see if anybody has any questions or comments or anything, because it's kind of hard to see on my phone while things are going. So I'm hoping that you can see this. I'm going to have to bring that up just a little bit, just so you can see it a little bit better. Well, it's kind of hard to see. There you go. There's a little bit better. Okay. Again, I'm going to have all of these cutouts available on my website here coming soon. I'm just working on a few details on how to make that happen. I've had lots of people message me and say, hey, can I buy the cutout so I can do this at home? And the answer is yes. You can message me right now before I have anything set up. But before that, I may not have it ready quite yet. So let me see. Looks like, kind of looking to see. Again, as most of you know, I'm very new at the whole live video stuff. So it's kind of fun. I'm kind of learning as I go. It's good stuff. Thanks, Deb. I see that you're there. There we go. This is always a good way for me to end the week. Just getting a little creative before we go back to work and school and get back into the swing of the week all over again. And as you can see, that I am not keeping this like super perfect. There's just, I'm not perfect. I'm not going to be perfect. I'm not going to try to be perfect. I always tell people you're not a machine, so, you know, if somebody wants something that's perfect and flawless, then, you know, go to the store, go to Walmart, whatever. You know, but that's not what this is about. This is about having some fun and enjoying yourself and being creative and painting something really cool. So keep that in mind. So many people get so worried about everything being perfect, and that's not what it's about. There we go. Pretty happy with that side. I like that side. We're going to go to this side now. I'm hoping that you can see this. Oops, I'm hoping you can see this. I'm going to try to get it in the light a little bit better for you. And if anybody can, Deb, hi Deb. If anybody can, if you're having trouble seeing this, please let me know, because I may have to change up my video stuff here a little bit. It's hard for me to see if you can see it okay, so. On the other side of the basket, I have some other flowers, and I'm putting down some yellow first. I always like working when it's wet. That's called wet on wet. And I always like going back in and mixing colors right on my piece as I'm painting it. The girls that are going to be doing this painting with a painting party this coming week are going to have so much fun. I cannot wait to do this with them. There's nothing better than getting a group of ladies together. Not that it can do with guys, but the ones I've always done it with are with a group of ladies, and we, you know, crack open a little bit of wine and have a few cocktails and laugh and just get creative and have fun. And so that's what it's really all about. I've been doing paint parties for a couple of years now. And every single time, everyone is a little bit different, but they're always a really, really good time. So I'm going to just add some shadows under here. And go along like so. There we go. I'm going to go back in and I'm going to add some centers to my flowers. I'm just going to let that dry a little bit for now. Drop my paper towels on the floor. So that's the great thing about painting, is you can paint a little section and then you can move on to a different section while that section dries when you have more than one spot. So I'm going to take a little bit of green and I'm going to paint my leaves. Whenever I do these cutouts, I make it as easy as possible for people that are cutting them, or not cutting them, painting them, sorry. Because everybody has a different level of comfort when it comes to the painting part. So some people are, you know, I'm awesome, I can do this all by myself, just, you know, give me the cutout and the lines of where things go and let me have at it. Others are a little more timid and want a little more guidance, and either way, you're correct. There's no wrong way to do this, which is awesome. Trying to be. Oh, hey Lisa. Glad you're here. Once again, I can hear everybody must be home. I think my daughter just got home from work right now. So I'm waiting for somebody to come knocking on my door here. It's a nice thing. I have this beautiful little space down in the basement, and everybody wants to covet it all the time. And it is set aside. I created my own little studio down here for painting and creating courses and doing all kinds of things that I'm doing right now. But of course, everybody wants to come down and share my space and find mom, you know. That's how it always is. That's okay. That's okay. All right, so we got some green on that side. I'm going to do the same thing over here on this side. All I'm using for supplies is the bottled type acrylics. They're very, very, very reasonable. And you can get them any craft store, Walmart, any place that sells acrylic paint. There are different brands, and you have to kind of play around a little bit to find what brand that you like the best. You know, for me, it just depends on the color. Some colors are a little more transparent than other colors, and some with some of the brands of the paint. So it all kind of depends. There's, you know, the Apple Barrel craft paint. There's the ceramic coat. There's just different brands. So you almost kind of have to play around and see what you like best. Sometimes I mix, you know, like tonight I'm just using various kinds, the various two between the Apple Barrel and the ceramic coat, and they both are working just fine. So let's see. Let's go on to our basket. Oh, somebody's asking me if I can link my page so they can watch. I'm going to do that just because I know how hard it is when you're trying to do something and it's not working. So there we go. Okay. Oh, it's kind of fun. There's quite a few people that are hopping on tonight. This is good. So I'm going on to the brown, and here's a little trick. If you are painting and your acrylic paint is a little bit thick, which this brown is a little bit thick, I just take and I just add a little bit of water onto my brush, and it just thins it out. That's one thing that I really, really, really enjoy about acrylic paint. It's really easy to use for me, and I'm not very patient when it comes to drawing time and waiting for things to happen. So what I usually do is I use acrylic just because it's quick, and I can thin it out if it's too thick with a little bit of water. It's water and soap cleanup. You know, it's, if you get it on your clothes, if you have to kind of work quick to get it out while it's still wet. I have pretty much everything I own that's got paint on it, but you know, oh well. It just gives a character, I guess. Drives my husband crazy, but you know, that's just how I am. But it does go on very nicely. And the nice thing is that you can seal it with a clear spray paint or polyacrylic sealant, and it just works really nice. So most of my paintings are done in acrylic. I'm kind of a I want it done yesterday kind of gal, so I really have very little patience when it comes to waiting for things to dry. There we go. There we go. Now again, in doing these paintings, you know, people who are, I wouldn't say serious about art, but, you know, are do it for, I don't know, I don't even want to say selling, because everybody can sell artwork, but there are some people who are in the school of this would not be considered art because it's not technical, it's not, you know, an original kind of thing. If there's multiples of, you know, more than one. And, you know, I guess to that I say that's fine. And that's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I want to have some fun and I want to get creative. And these are just fun to, like, hang on your door and, you know, decorate your house and do that kind of stuff. That's what I do this for. I don't, you know, do it because I want it in a museum somewhere. That's not going to happen. Let's just be real right away. I know that already. So, and that's okay. That's totally fine. So I have my basket painted. I'm going to go back and I'm going to add the details later on. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take and I'm going to water down a little bit of this brown. I'm going to put some brown in the inside of my flowers. And what I'm going to do, see what I did with my stamper. I have like a circle, like a round kind of stamper. These are really fun because what I can do is I can make round centers to my flowers, and you know, I know I'm going to have to go and I'm going to have to paint some of them, but some of them I'm not going to. I'm not going to have to, which is pretty cool because they're done. And all I did was just do a stamp with a little sponge. And if it gets to be a little too much, like I got on my thing right now, just dab it off. Oops. See, that one didn't work very good. Again, don't have to worry about making mistakes. I do them all the time. I'm just going to take and paint the yellow over the top. Let that dry and try again. That's the best part. That is the best part. Not a big deal. There we go. Just going to take some of this water out of here. That's part of the problem. There we go. I'm just going to... It's a little bit big for that part. There we go. There. Liking it. I'm just going to pop part of one because then I can see where to go with my brush. I'm going to go back and add some fun little details later and I'll show you that in a little bit, but we're going to let that all dry first and then go from there. There we go. I'm going to kind of eyeball this one. There we go. All right. We're going to go back and add the details, like I said, later on. But for now, we're going to move on to our bicycle. For the seat, I'm just going to do a plain black for now. And I'll go back in and add a few highlights and make it a little more interesting. But right now, all we're doing is getting our base coat down, our base coat of color, just to get it coated. Details and things come next. after things are a little drier. There we go. I'm hoping y'all can see that. Well, it's kind of a weird angle lens. Let me see if I can just tip this down just a little more, just so you can see the, there we go. That might be better. Y'all don't need to see my face in this. You want to see what's going on, so that's better. All right. Once again, new to the live Facebook stuff, and I'm learning as I go, which is awesome. There are a lot of folks that are learning as they go with a lot of this stuff, so we're all in this together, I say. So I'm just doing my handle grips here. Again, I'm wrapping that color around just because I think it always looks way nicer, way more finished doing that, like so. All right, so the next part is our bicycle, and I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, and I wasn't sure what exactly color I wanted to do, but I think I'm going to go with this tealy blue color because our flowers are yellow. I could do a purple, but there's also orange in our flowers, and I always like the way that blue and orange, yellow all kind of look together. So I'm just using this teal. This is the turquoise, Apple Barrel turquoise color. And I'm just going to paint this down first, and while it's still wet, I'm going to add just a little bit of white to do some highlights. And a little bit of shadow underneath, because there's a little shelf there that basket's sitting on. And I'm not really sure just yet what color I want that shelf to be. I gotta figure that out yet. So here's our fender of our bike. And I'm just going to wrap the color again around. Now if this gets dry before I get to my highlight, not a big deal. I will just take and paint a little more of the teal on there and then mix the color right there. You know, there are some people again that like to mix the color on their palette. I am just using an old ice cream lid for my palette. Nothing too fancy, you know. If you really feel the need to go out and get an artist kind of palette, by all means, feel free, but good old paper plates and plastic lids work just fine. So I would have a little bit of light bouncing off this part of the fender here. So I'm going to mix that a little bit lighter. I'm going to bring a little bit of white over here on this side. And blend that like that. Okay. Then because that little shelf is right above, I'm going to make that little part darker. Almost like it's casting a shadow right underneath here. And I'm kind of I like a whimsical painting, almost kind of illustration-ish, if that's a word. So I will go back and I will redraw my black lines in between with a real thin brush, just because I like that look to it. And so I will go back and do that later on after everything is dry. I'm going to wash out my brush a little bit here before I go on to the next part. Hi Tracy, thanks for joining me. Thanks for checking this out. Appreciate it. All right, I just need some paint. I'm going to get some paint right on my palette there. That way I'm not dipping into the... This is kind of like an old Schwinn type bike. I always think of my dad. My dad had a black Schwinn in our garage for forever. And I don't even remember if he ever even rode it. But it ended up getting so old that the tires all dry rotted on it when he took it out of the garage, and just laugh when I think about it. It was black and white. And it was original. It was not a Schwinn look-alike. It was the real thing, real deal. So I just kind of think it's funny. If you have questions too while I'm going, please feel free to ask, because I try to paint and talk at the same time and ask questions or answer questions and the best that I can. So let's just try to learn together here. So yeah, here we go. So I'm going to just kind of go around the petals and everything. If I kind of blip over a little bit, again, I'll just paint over it. You know, I'm just using a kind of a smaller flat brush. I'm a flat brush girl. I really, really, really like flat brushes. But to each his own. And it's kind of one of those things, you have to find the kind of brushes that you like best for yourself. I am a synthetic person. I like the white synthetic bristle types. It's just that they are a little bit stiffer for me, and I like how that works. And then I just really like the flat brushes. You know, rounded brushes have their place. I do use rounded brushes from time to time. But for the majority of my painting, I use the flat brushes. So just kind of get in here and get this all painted up with the teal. Again, I'll go in with some of the white, some of the black. Add some shadows, add some highlights. The board I'm using is kind of it's a press board type wood. It's a 1/4 inch thick. I did saw all these out by hand. I have 8 of these beauties cut for the party I'm doing next week. So we'll have some. I may have to cut a few more depending on if other people decide they want to try their hand at it and have some fun. like I said, that is going to be such a fun party. I cannot wait to do that party. I always love adding that highlight onto the darker colors. It just kind of wakes it up. Wakes it up real quick. And I'm not one that really likes it real harsh. I will put a little bit of a white, you know, harder highlight line, kind of like so. But when it comes to the highlight itself, I really like to blend it out a little bit. So what I will do is I will just take a little bit of the teal and kind of blend it out a little bit so that it's not so harsh. And that's just how I like it. That's how I always do it. I always do that. So there we go. I have that. And I'm going to blend that out just a little bit. This is a really good way to end my Sunday and get myself ready for the week. And I really can't wait to put this on my door. It's going to be fun here. Some spots you may need to add another layer, possibly, if it's not quite coating the way that you want it to. You can always add another layer of paint. I'm finding the teal is actually covering pretty well, so I'm not too worried about putting a second layer on. I don't think I'll need to do that. But there we go. I love that right there. Perfect. Okay. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to add my second front fender here, and I'm going to start with that teal again. I may go back and make that little spot darker where the two meet, just so that front fender, you can tell that that's in the front, just because it'll be lighter. I think I am going to do that. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of black. I'm going to end up going in with a black line anyway, but I am going to add a little bit more value to that section just because I think it kind of needs it. Oh, hey Haley. How's it going? I can't wait to see the finished product either. It's going to be fun. It's going to be super fun. Okay. And I'm going to come on over here. Oh, I got a little spot, missed a little spot. Oh, I'm going to wrap my color too while I'm in both little sections. I'm going to do that. You know, I try to do this as close to almost turning it, not necessarily a coloring book, but for people that just really aren't super confident in their skill level, I always try to, when I do my parties, I always try to make sure that everybody and anybody who is there is going to be successful, because nobody wants to take home something that they're not very proud of. So I always try to make it so that every single person, no matter where their skill level is, they feel that they are taking home a really awesome piece of work, and that they really had a good time doing it, and that they're proud of it. That, you know, they didn't necessarily think they could do it, and then walk out with this great painting, and they had a lot of fun. And, you know, museum worthy? Probably not. Probably not. But you know, something fun that they can hang on their door, put in their house, whatever, most definitely. Most definitely. I always get so many people that, oh, I'm just not an artist. Oh, gosh. And I just shake my head every single time, like, oh, why do you feel like you have to be an artist? You don't have to have the label of an artist. Just enjoy the creative part of it. That's the important part. That is the most important part. Oh, yeah. Mom's nights. Yep. Mom's night parties, they are the best. Moms get to get out for the night and have some fun. So I'm going to add just a little bit of dark here and blend it from the handlebar area. And I got a little too dark over here, so I'm going to come back in with that teal and again, make a mistake, let it dry, paint over it, not a big deal. I'm not even letting it dry, I'm just painting over it right here. And if I still don't like it, then I'll let it dry and I'll go back. Like I said, I am not very patient when it comes to waiting for things to dry. There's a trick you can use I've used a hair dryer and just kind of took the hair dryer and put it over the top of a spot that wasn't drying fast enough for me. And that works pretty well to get stuff going. But otherwise, just sometimes you just got to be patient. That's the great part about painting sections, because you can paint a section, let it dry, come back to it, paint a section, let it dry, come back to it. Just like the flowers in the basket that I did. I didn't do all the details in that yet, just because I know that I'm going to need to go back and paint later on, so. Okay, not sure if you can see that with that in the way. But that turned out really well. And now I'm just going to take my white again. I'm going to take the very edge of my brush and I'm going to draw that highlight in there, just like so. All right. Not keen on that black, the way that's drying. So I'm going to just add another layer of the black on top here. Hopefully that will dry a little more solid. It just wasn't. Sometimes the wood sucks the paint in too. And so sometimes you have to go back and add just a little more of the paint on top, just to, let's see, let's add a little bit of that white on there. Let's see what happens. Just differentiate things a little bit. Yeah, I kind of like that actually. Kind of like that. There we go. So for the wheels, I am just going to do black. I did purchase some silver acrylic paint. That, yes, Haley, we're going to use that with your group next week. But you know, sometimes you gotta have a little fun. You have to kind of play around with some of the acrylics that are like metallics and glittery. Yes, glittery. I'm not a glitter girl, but sometimes if I'm doing something that's really fun, really festive, really girly, glitter is the ticket. And so there is a place, there's a time. Some people would argue with me and say there is every place and every time for those that are super glitter fans. I have a few friends that are super glitter fans. For me, I'm not a super glitter fan, but I do use it from time to time, just depending on what I'm painting. So, just going around the wheel here with the black. And again, I'm going to try to stay in the line the best I can. I am not a machine. And that's just the way it is. It is what it is. And if I make a mistake, I can go back and paint over it. But, you know, this is handmade. It's hand painted. It's handmade. And, you know, I'm going to do the absolute best that I can with what I'm doing. I just got paint all over my cup. Oh, that's all right. It's just a cup, right? Plastic. Again, adds character. I think I'm going with that. Adds character. So I'm kind of trying to be careful around my fender here and around my wheel. And I'll be showing you how I'm going to add that silver here in a little bit. I'm just going to get the flat black. The silver is going to go on where it would be chrome. You know, it'd be kind of fun if you did the bike also in a metallic that, you know, is kind of shiny, that if you have it hanging on a wall or a door where there's a lot of sun and it changes colors, that would be kind of cool, I think, too, just for fun. Just an idea. I usually give people at my parties a lot of options that they don't have to copy mine if they don't like it necessarily. If they want to, great. If not, awesome. Do your thing too. I am not going to be upset one bit. Nothing wrong with a little glitter, Michaela says. Yeah. Michaela is awesome. She just graduated and she is amazing. Nothing wrong with a little glitter. You're right. Nothing wrong with a little glitter from time to time. Again, if you are looking to do this at home, I am going to be starting Painting of the Month Club coming hopefully by the end of May. Each month we'll do 2 paintings and learn 1 technique. And for those paintings that are the door hangers, I will have the door hanger available to you. And for the canvas paintings, you would just have to, you know, purchase your own canvas. But I walk through, we paint together. Some of the tutorials and lessons are videotaped, but a lot of them are live, and you'd be able to come back to them and watch them. It's going to be a private Facebook group. And I will have sign up hopefully ready. I'm trying to get it all together on my website right now. Hopefully ready by the end of May. So working on that. That should be a lot of fun. The more people we can get painting, the better, I say. And how cool to have everybody from around different parts of the world painting all together at one time. So cool stuff. Amazing. So trying to read the comments I see. Make sure I'm not missing any. So I'm wrapping the black on this side. It's hard to see on, you can't see it on this side, but wrapping the black around. So there we go. There's our wheels. Again, there are some spots on here that just did not cover super awesome, so I'm going to go back and just kind of redo those a little bit. There we go. So that's awesome. Now, I have a Folk Art metallic silver, and so I'm going to, hopefully, there we go, use the metallic where there would be the metal. So on the handlebars, on the pedal, round. Oh goodness, yeah, that does not cover the way I thought it was going to. Alright, so this is what we are going to do. We are going to take a little bit of the black. I'm going to paint with the black first. I'm going to add a little bit of white and make it more of a gray. And I'm going to have to paint that silver on top of that. Sometimes, like I said, you don't know how your paint is going to behave until you start with it on top and then kind of go from there. There we go. And it's kind of hard to see on the camera, I'm sure. With that, but I'm going to take and make the center. Lighter. I'm actually going to do that over here too, so I repeat that. That's the great thing too, when you're painting, if you repeat your colors, it just brings everything together with repetition. So that's just one of those elements of art that you want to use when you're doing paintings, so that way it actually is unified and everything kind of comes together really, really, really well. There we go. All right. So I am mixing my paint right on my board here. Like so. I am going to go back over with the silver again, just so that it does get that silvery kind of look. It's kind of hard to see, I'm sure, on camera. I'm sure that you can't see it as well, but I can see the silver sparkle in here, so. Okay, so I'm going to go up, I'm going to add a little bit of lighter And again, wrapping that color. Okay. There we go. Okay. I'm going to make that other side just a tiny bit darker. And I am going to mix that gray on my palette so that I can see how dark it is. And then again, wrap that color around the edges. Just like so. And then bring that white highlight along the edge. Like so. All right. Bring some of that silver over here, some of the gray. And sometimes, you know, you have to get your eyes away from your work for a little bit. So, you know, there are sometimes that I'll finish a piece that I've done, and I'll walk away from it and thinking, oh, you know, I think that's pretty good. I think I'm done. And then I come back to it and I realize like there's something else that I missed, or something else that I want to add, or, you know, something. And you may figure that too. You may realize that you know, once you're done, get away from it for a little bit and then come back to it and kind of take another look at it and see maybe what's different, or what could be different, or what you're missing, or whatever. I do that a lot. Okay, I need to stop playing with that part and let it be. Just let it be. Okay. Mix this gray so it covers up that wood a little better. I think I'm going to do that petal black. So I'm going to kind of just play with the value, or the light and darkness of the side over here just a little bit. It's not quite behaving the way I want it to, but that's okay. It'll come, it'll happen. You have to be a little patient. Okay, I'm gonna leave that right there, just the way it is. Got that gray going on down here. And again, Some paintings take more than one day just because of the dry time and your time. You know, and if it takes more than a day to do it, it's not a big deal. You can come back and take care of it when you are ready and finish it. Just don't let it go months and months and months without finishing it, because that happens to me sometimes too. And then you just wonder to yourself, like, why did it take so long? And we get sidetracked and all that good stuff, but try not to let that happen. I'm going to come back up here and just add a little bit of brown in some of the spots that I know need it. I'm going to even out my shelf just a little bit here. There we go. Again, I'm going to go back and add some of the details to that basket, since it's a little drier. That wood loves to suck that paint right in. So then a second coat is warranted. There we go. There we go. All right, so for inside of the wheel wells here, I'm going to go with a much lighter gray. We're going to go in and I think I'm going to add some lines just to give the idea of the spokes. I'm not going to do each spoke separately. That's kind of silly. So I'm going to mix myself up a little bit of gray here. And depending, I may also bring a little bit of that blue in. And I'm not going to make this a solid gray because I like the idea that the wheels spin. And so if I add a little bit of black into the wheel itself, and I have it going in the direction that the wheel would be turning, it's going to give us just that visual idea that the wheels spin. Now, are they spinning? Clearly not. But we get the idea. And that's really what we're out for, just the idea. Just like so. Okay, so here's the black. I'm going to take just a tiny bit of that blue. Just like so. Come on this side. I have quite a bit of paint loaded on my brush when I'm doing this, so it's not like dripping, but it is really, really full of paint. And those other colors just to make us see that the wheel spins, just to give that idea. Like so. Come on this side, do the same thing. You can see how much paint I had loaded on my brush there. It was quite a lot. Come on this side, whoops. A little bit of a goober of paint there. There we go. So now I don't know about you guys, but I know that my weeks and nights get pretty busy with 3 kids, baseball, lacrosse, soccer. Right now there's track season. We are on the go all the time. And so I know that I lots of times have to literally force myself to sit down and sometimes just eat, but to create, to draw, to paint, to create stuff, make classes, make courses, all that good stuff. You know, it's important to take that time and do that. I know that sometimes we get too caught up in what everybody else needs us for. And I have come to the realization that if I don't take care of what I need sometimes, I am not a happy mama. And nobody likes a not happy mama. So, you know, it has come to the point that, yep, I'm going to go down to my basement and my studio and I'm going to paint tonight. And you all are going to do great. You know what you need to do. Just do it and let me do my thing. And my family's pretty good about it. Sometimes not so much, but usually they do. They get it. Because people who are creative, you have to do it. People that wouldn't consider themselves creative, they like to do it. And so, in both cases, it's important for you to do it. Aw, Jess. Hi, Jess. Talk about a creative person. She's amazing. And I love her. All right. So I blipped a little bit over there. That's okay. I'm going to add my little bit of, oh, I got a little too much there. Okay. I'm super excited about that little circle there. It's just not doing exactly what I want it to do yet. It will. I'll take a little bit of painting here. I'm gonna leave that one alone. I really like that side. There we go. Get a little highlight there. All right, so I'm going to come back with this silver now, again. And now that I've got a base coat color on there, now that I got a base coat color on there, that silver will shine up pretty nicely, I think. It just takes a little bit of base coat underneath it, I think, to make it come forward. And that's not a problem now at all. At all. There we go. That's looking really nice. Really nice. Again, I'm guessing you probably can't see the shininess. It looks more gray. But from where I'm sitting, it's looking pretty darn good. So. There, now I got it. Now I got it. All right. I did a little bloop of silver. I don't know if you can see that. Just take my paper towel. There we go. Not a big deal. All right. Draw that line in there. I'm going to go back with a smaller round brush. I think that's going to work a lot better. Okay, so I'm going to get this petal with the black down here. And then we really pretty much have all of our base coat stuff done. And then it's going to be just going back to add the details to it. Just like so. All right. Keep flipping the water over. All right. I'm going to do, let's see, I'm going to do a lighter brown for that little shelf that I've got going on there. And I'm just gonna go ahead and paint that lighter bit in there. Just so it's a little bit different. Just a little bit different. Color around. There we go. Perfect. Well, maybe not perfect, but it's good. I like it. There we go. Okay. That looks pretty darn good. Okay, so now with the flowers in the basket, I'm going to go back and I'm going to add some different details so that you can see kind of the woven basket, and we're going to add some of the highlights to the flowers, and then we're going to go back in and we are going to draw the lines with a smaller brush. Let's see. You have to pick your weapon here. I think I'm going to go with this one. See if I can get this. There we go. I can get that to a tip. All right, so I'm going to go back in with black, and I'm going to start going around my edges, drawing my lines. I'm watering down my black quite a bit because I really want to be able to move it smoothly, almost like I'm drawing with it. I basically am drawing with it. And I want to be able to add little, you know, little details like so in and around my flowers. Kind of like that. I think you can see that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that with all of my flowers. Oops. I'm going to go back in and I'm also going to add a middle. I think I need a middle to that one a little bit. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of brown. This one needs kind of a middle coming from part of it. The details are just, I like when I do real whimsical, fun kind of paintings, I like to outline them. I just think it kind of just gives it a finished kind of look to it, and I just like how that looks when it's done. So that's why I outline. Not everybody feels that way. That's the way I do it. That's the way I like to do it. You know, everybody's different, so you can choose how you would want to do it if you do want to outline it and add details in. Just thinks it just gives it just a little extra something special by doing that. There we go. Just going real careful around the edges. There we go. Sometimes your design changes a little bit with your flowers. If you've painted them in and then realize, oh, I kind of think I went a little farther with this petal, or I should add more to this or add more to that, you can always do that. Lots of times, you know, I start a painting going one way and then it just changes, and that's totally okay. That doesn't mean anything. Usually I know the direction I'm going to go, but sometimes that direction changes. And lots of times it's for the better. I'm surprised. As Bob Ross used to say, happy accidents, right? I have lots of happy accidents all the time. And I'm totally okay with that. And after you've been doing artwork and painting for a while, sometimes you realize that the way it turns out was way better than what you even had thought about in the first place. So something may be a little different than what you expected, but that's always okay. Always okay. There we go. So just going along the edges of things a little bit. You know, I may add a few little lines in here just to give it a little bit of a differentiation and give it a little texture. And that works good too. So just like so. Okay, so we've got the one side with details of the flowers. I'm just going to kind of tip it up so you can see it a little bit better. You know, that really adds a lot to those flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little extra here on this side and then go over on this side and do the exact same thing. Exact same thing. go. I always love it when I do paint parties too, because all the people, you know, we all start out doing the same project, and when we're done, everybody's looks similar, but it's totally their own, and that's so much fun. And that's what it's about, is just making stuff your own. And I always come away amazed at people who leave and they're so proud of themselves. Hi, Andrea. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. Okay. Just finish up these details for these flowers over here on this side. Like so. Brush is splitting a little bit, so I'm going to wet it and get a little more paint on there. I think my paint is drying out a little bit on my palette as well. There we go. I just think that outline just really adds just a nice finish to everything. It's just fun. There we go. Okay, so now those brown middles are okay, you know, but I want to add a little something else to that. So I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to add a little bit of white, and I'm just going to do like a cross hatch, which is just kind of like lines that go one way and then lines that go another way. Just to give it a little fun. And it'll make those middles stand out just a little bit. Some people may not like that. That's okay. Don't have to do that if you don't want to. I kind of like that. There we go. All right, let's go on. Let's move on to that basket. So with that basket, let's do a little bit of crosshatch action, but it's almost going to be like it's the weave. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to, let's see, let's do, we're just going to keep going like this across with horizontal and vertical lines. And going to give that idea of a basket weave. And you know, you might get into starting something and look at it and think, oh my gosh, I hate that. I do it all the time. So all you do, just let it dry, paint over the top, there are some things I will paint and I will paint it 4 or 5 times before I finally find the way I like it. and that's just the way it is. Sometimes you don't know until you get started, and then you're like, oh, not really what I thought it was going to be. Which, you know what, no big deal. Just change it and make it the way you do want it to be. Not anything that you're married to for forever. It's fine. Don't worry about it. There we go. All right. We are going to start doing some of these outlines here. And I'm just going to come up here and I'm going to go around my handlebars. And I'm just kind of kissing the edge of those handlebars with my brush. And again, it just adds that little bit of detail to it, and I just like that. Some people may not, but I just really, really do. Better come up here before I drag my sleeve through there. That wouldn't be the first time. There we go. And let's see. And I'm not doing anything too difficult with my brush. I'm just dragging it along this edge and kind of just with the tip of the brush. And that seems to drag that black right along the edge really nicely. I have this little metal piece right here on my table, and every time I bump it, it makes a really loud noise. It's kind of annoying. All right. There we go. Just very carefully outlining everything. Again, my black is very, very watered down so that I can really move it the way I want it to move. If your paint is too thick, it's sometimes really hard to get the details in the areas you want. So sometimes you have to water it down even a little bit more. Mine's pretty liquid right now, so. Oops. But it's moving really nicely with my little brush, which is exactly what I need it to do. Just like so. Whew, sometimes I forget to breathe. A lot of concentration going on there. Trying to keep that paint going the way I want it to go. There we go. If anybody else does that, but sometimes I kind of like all of a sudden realize like I'm really not breathing. I have to stop and take a breath. That's heavy concentration. That's in the zone right there. There we go. There we go. This is really coming along quickly and nicely. To be really careful not to drag my fingers through the wet paint. There we go. There. Okay. It's hard to believe that this is almost done, you guys. Just gotta get a little edge here and there we go. All right. I'm gonna mix up just a really light yellow. A little bit of white, a little bit of yellow. More white than yellow. And I'm going to go in and just in a few spots just add a little bit of highlight to the basket as well. It just kind of makes your weave pop a little bit. Highlights, I love adding highlights. It changes everything. Got a little bit of black on there. I don't want to carry that around. Just adding that little bit of light, it just brings your eyes right down to that basket, and it's cool. I like it a lot. Changes the focal points and the values of things, and it just, see, if you look at the two different baskets, it's just such a big difference now. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to go do the same thing on this side. Mix up a little more of that yellow. Just got a tiny tinge of yellow to it, so it's not solid white. There we go. All right, a couple little things and then we are done. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna add just a little highlight there. highlight to my petal. I'm going to go through here. Add some highlight there. Add a little highlight there. Bring that highlight down a little bit. Like so. And then I am going to take some really watered down black. Really watered down black. And let's see, dab it off a little bit. I'm just going to add this idea of the spokes. I'm not going to add every single spoke. Okay? I'm not going to add every single one. I'm just going to give the idea. Oops. If you catch it while it's wet enough, you can wipe it right off. Just want the idea that they're there. Clearly, I'm not going to do every single one. Okay? So there you go. I would consider this totally done. I'm going to turn it around so y'all can see it. I think that turned out really, really awesome, you guys. I think this one's going to be a really fun one to hang on a door. So, there you go. There's our demonstration for tonight, the bicycle with the flower baskets. And I will be putting a hanger on here, and I'll be posting a finished picture of it hanging on a door. So thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. I hope you enjoyed the demonstration. Remember, we have Painting of the Month Club coming at the end of May. And also, very soon, there will be a place where you'll be able to buy the patterns and cutouts for the cutout paintings that we do. So make sure to keep an eye out for that. So thanks, and I hope you have a great night.